Hi, welcome to January's painting class with Victoria. This month we will be painting a snowman. Kits for this painting are available at Westside Library. In the kit you will get an 11 by 14 canvas, a traceable with carbon paper to trace the design on the canvas. You will also get the paint you need for this project. You will get white, red, yellow, orange, blue, black, and brown. Now, what doesn't come in the kit? At home, you will need a container of water, a pencil, paper towels, and paint brushes. For this month, you will be using a 1-inch flat to paint your background, a size 8 filbert. This is the paintbrush with the kind of rounded, pointy edge. It kind of looks like an eyeshadow brush. If you don't have an 8 filbert at home, a flat of the same size will work. It's kind of dealer's choice of what you like to paint with. And you will also need an outline brush, a size 2 or 3. All right, let's get painting. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is paint our background. You're going to load your paint brush with the blue and some of the white. To paint the background, you're going to use your large paintbrush, the 1-inch flat. In one corner, you're going to load blue onto the brush, and then on the other corner, you're going to load some white, and you're going to start painting. And you're just going to keep using that technique until your entire canvas is painted the blue and the white. Don't worry, you don't want your canvas to be all the same color blue. Remember, this is supposed to be the sky during a clear, bright, sunny winter day. It's that really pretty stark blue with some white of the clouds. And that is what we're trying to mimic. All right. Now, some of you at home have what are called panel canvases. Those are completely flat. Some others have what is called a frame canvas, where the canvas is stretched on a wooden frame. If you have a frame canvas, remember to paint the sides. All right, so once you have your background painted, you need to let it dry. You can either do this by letting it air dry. That takes about 20 minutes or so, or you can speed up the drying process and use a hair dryer. If you use a hair dryer, it takes about 5 minutes. So let your canvas dry. I have a dry canvas already prepped. We are through with our large paintbrush, so clean it off. You just want to keep swirling your paintbrush in the water until you can see that you don't have any more paint. Then you're going to take and use your paper towel and get the excess water out. And you just want to kind of keep rinsing your paintbrush until it comes clean. All right. I did something. Okay. All right, so we have our dry canvas with our backdrop painted. Now you're going to need your pencil, the carbon paper, and your traceable that came in the kit. Okay, you are going to lay the carbon shiny side down, and you're going to line it up to the edge of the canvas. Now your traceable is a little bit bigger than the carbon paper, but that's okay because you're just going to be finishing off the hat, which is going to be a square. Okay, so just lay down your traceable, and now you're going to go over the lines. Okay. Now, when you're tracing, a pencil that has a little dull, I found works better than a very sharp pencil. Okay, and after we finish going over all of our traceable, just take it off And as you can see, you have your design on the canvas. Now, you're gonna need to finish off your hat, and that's just making a square. Just finishing a square. All right, so we have our pattern down. We can start painting. Okay, so the first thing we are going to paint is our snowman body. For this, we're going to need white, and we are going to be using our size 8 filbert. All right, so I'm going to get some of my white, and we are going to start painting. Remember to keep all of your brush strokes going in the same direction. And keep enough paint on your paintbrush where the paint floats, that it doesn't drag. And when you're painting, you can tell when it starts to drag because you can feel your paint pull when you're actually painting. You want to avoid that feel. You want it to have a floaty feel. Remember, keep your brush strokes going in one direction. Okay, and the thing about filberts is that they have this little rounded tip on the end, so as you get closer to corners, you're just going to use the tip of your paintbrush. Okay. 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 All right, and we're doing the lower body now. Just remember, keep your brush strokes going the same direction. And keep your paintbrush loaded with your paint so it doesn't pull. Okay. All right. So we have our first coat down for our snowman. We are going to now do some shading on the body. So our shading is going to be on the end of the snowman on the left-hand side. And we're just going to do it in a circular motion. We're going to get a little bit more blue. And we're going to take and make a crescent moon shape going along that snowman. And as we go from left to right, the blue is going to get lighter. Like, think like an ombre look. If you look at shadows, it's like, all right. So we're going to take a little bit more blue, get some white, and we're going to do the lower half. In the same way. Kind of like semicircle. With bluer tone with the darker blue, and it just gets lighter as it goes from left to right. Okay, so we have our shading in on our snowman. I'm gonna rinse my brush because I want to get that blue off. And we're gonna go back to the white. And we're gonna do a second coat on Mr. Snowman. All right, and let's get the lower half of Mr. Snowman. All right. Okay. All right. So we have our snowman body done. Now we're going to start in on some of the detail. All right, go ahead and clean your filbert because you are going to use it. So what we're going to be doing now is the scarf and hat band, and we're going to paint that in red. So start off with the hat band. Just go around and outline the hat band using the end tip of your filbert. If you're finding this a little difficult, switch to do the outlining part to your small liner brush. It's really what works for you. To see which you're more comfortable with. Try drawing a couple of lines using your filbert and your liner brush and see which one works better for you. All right. Okay. Now, something you might notice is that I'm actually turning the canvas as I paint. That's something I like to do. I find it works for me. When we were teaching the classes in person, that's something that you'll know. I noticed some people would turn their canvases, some people don't. It's a personal preference. As you paint, the more you paint, you find out things that work best for you personally. Anything creative is, yes, we're all painting the same thing, but everything is going to be slightly different because we each create something unique to our own selves. All right. So that's our scarf and our hat band. Set it aside for a minute. We're going to let that coat dry, and we are going to go on to paint the carrot nose and the bird and the arm. Okay. So once again, using your filbert, I'm going to get some of the orange and I am going to work on the nose. I'm going to start by doing the outline. And then I'm going to go in and fill in the center. All right. So we've been painting for a little while, and if you can tell, some of my water is getting kind of murky. A good question is, when do I need to change my water? Basically, you need to change your water when you're rinsing your paintbrush and it doesn't come clean. Like if you've rinsed it once or twice and when you're dabbing it on the paintbrush, that water is not cleaning the paint out, then it's time to get a new container of water. For right now, even though our water looks all kind of like funky and murky, it is still cleaning our paintbrushes, so I'm going to keep using it. All right, so I am going to use some yellow, and I'm going to paint Mr. Birdie. Once again, I'm using that 8 Phillip. If you want to use a smaller brush like the liner brush, go ahead and use that one. It's basically just what you're comfortable with. Also, if the paintbrushes you're at home are using doesn't have a filbert, use a flat. All right, so we are through with our yellow. We have painted our bird. I'm gonna rinse my paintbrush again. And I'm going to use my brown and I'm going to paint the arms, and I'm going to use that filbert again. Right. For most of the arm, I'm just using the tip of the filbert. All right, so we have the arm, which means we're gonna rinse our paintbrush again. I think I want to give the carrot nose a second coat, and we're going to do a second coat of the hat and the scarf. So we're back to our red. And we're going to do the hat band first. I'm doing a second coat because that second coat gives it a deeper scarlet color. You get some more depth and brightness that you don't get by just using one coat. Okay, like before, I'm gonna start by doing the outline. And then work in. Not a little too much on my brush, so I got rid of the extra. All right. All right, so I have my red down. I want to clean my brush. I'm actually going to switch water. All right. All right, and I'm going to go back to our orange and do a second layer for the carrot nose. And like the red, it's about getting some depth and brightness of color. All right. Now, something else that we're going to use the orange for is the beak on the bird. So I'm going to take my liner brush, that's the very small brush, and I'm going to paint the beak orange. Okay. Clean it, clean your liner brush and set it aside for a moment. And clean your filbert. All right. So we're going to use our black nail to paint the hat. And with the black, you're going to start by going around the edges and then work your way in. I'm using that very edge of the filbert. Use that tip of the filbert to go around your edges. And then work your way in. After you have finished with the hat, you're going to rinse off your filbert. And clean her off. And you're going to get the outline brush and we're going to start doing some detail work. So you're going to take your outline brush and start going over your lines. And remember when you're doing this to keep enough paint on your paintbrush that it flows and floats. All right. So we're going to continue outlining. Now I'm using a number 2 liner. And that's my preference. I find that size works really well. Think of this part as just like going around and finishing off your painting. Okay. And I'm gonna add some fringe. Now I'm gonna get a little bit of red and kind of run it through the black. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna clean off my brush. And we're gonna go back to the solid black. Okay. And another thing about outlining is that it hides the pencil marks. Okay. Now we're going to do our nose. All right, so we're going to do the feet. We're just going to draw a line, and then we're going to make a V at the end of the line. And in the middle of the V, draw another line. And you have the feet. All right, so get that filbert again, and you're going to take the end of the filbert and dip it in the black paint. And we're going to, and that is a hack for making a dot, which works really well for making a small eye or a polka dot. All right, so clean the black paint off the end of your paintbrush, and let us get back to outlining. All right, so we're going to take and make some squiggly lines in the middle of our carrot, because carrots have like some indentations in them, so we want like a little bit of that. All right. Now, our outlining is done for our snowman, which our snowman has one thing left to it: the eyes and mouth. So, put aside your liner brush for a minute, and you are going to take the end of that filbert again and dip it in black paint. And you're going to decide where you're going to put the eyes and the mouth. You want one eye around here. And then one about here. Now you're going to take your liner brush again. And you're going to go around that dot. Make a circle, and then you're going to fill in the circle. Thus giving your snowman two eyes. All right. So, now another way to do this is decide, okay, I'm going to make a circle. Here and fill it in. And this is going to be the snowman's mouth. And you want like 4 circles to come up, and you want them to be, don't worry if they're not the same size or they're a little uneven, because if you're making a real snowman, you're going to be using things like rocks or buttons or something like that, that a lot of times that aren't going to be even, that wouldn't be the same size. It's what you have laying around your house, what's out in the yard. Now kind of look and see if you want his eyes to be bigger. I think I do. So I'm just going to go over my circle one more time. All right. All right, so Frosty has some eyes, he has a mouth. We're through with our snowman. All right, so we're gonna clean our brushes off. All right, I definitely wanna get all of the black off from my liner brush, because we're going back to white. The last step on our painting is we're going to do some snowflakes in the background and then splatter paint it. Okay, so all right. So around the painting, I am going to do some random snowflakes. Now the snowflakes, they're just asterisk marks. You just do a line. I'm gonna make Make a cross and then an X over the cross. And vary your placement in size of your snowflakes, because real snowflakes are different sizes, they're different shapes. Not that we get a lot of snow in Louisiana, but hey, you know, we just had some, so we actually have a reference point. And I'm just kind of turning my canvas so I can get my snowflakes easier. Okay, so we have our snowflakes. So the very last thing we're going to do is splatter painting. Now, from those of you who have seen these videos before or attended the classes when we were doing them in person, you know this step well. All right. So splatter painting, you can do a couple of different ways. One way that works really well is if you have an old toothbrush. Another way is you can use something that's called a fan brush. It literally looks like a fan. Some of you might have one of these in a paint kit. Say you don't have a old toothbrush or a fan brush. You just have a regular old paintbrush. So this is when you're going to want to get out either your filbert or your flat, whichever you're using. And we're going to come in with the white, get a good dollop on your paintbrush. Stick that paintbrush in the water. And you're going to want to be standing up to do this. And you're going to want to do it from a height. And just strike the center of the paintbrush, and you're going to get flecks. The harder you flick your paintbrush, the bigger dots you get. Less force equals smaller splatters. Basically, this helps kind of like the effect with snowing. Also, we've done it on other paintings because it just kind of looks cool. All right, so this is our snowman. All right, thanks for joining me today to paint our snowman. We'll see you again in February where we are painting our Eiffel Tower on a cloudy day. All right. See you guys next month. Bye-bye.